Welcome, dear learners. This will be a course on digital image processing uh, based on the syllabus for 7th semester ENC engineering of VTU. Subject code is 17EC72. Myself, Ajay Abi, Assistant Professor, ENC Department, Canara Engineering College, Mangalore, will be taking the course. There is an old English adage, one picture is worth more than 1,000 words. That means the complex and sometimes multiple ideas can be conveyed by a single still image which conveys its meaning or essence more effectively than a mere verbal description. So that means you see an image, you get more information out of it than a mere wording or some description given of given on that image or anything. So in this course we'll explore the ways in which we can make the computers to identify the features themselves or to enhance the image, and finally the fundamentals that we learn here can be applied for computer vision. Syllabus overview for the course prescribed by VTU. So the syllabus spans across 5 modules. In the first module we'll learn about digital image fundamentals. In the second module we'll learn about spatial domain and frequency domain processing, and in the third module we'll discuss about image restoration. Fourth module is about color image processing, wavelets and morphological image processing, and in the final module we'll learn about image segmentation, representation and description. Textbook and references for the course. The main textbook is Digital Image Processing by Rafael C. Gonzalez and Richard E. Woods, 2nd edition 2010, published by Tata McGraw-Hill. And most of the material which follows in this course is taken from this textbook. And the reference books are, first one, Fundamentals of Digital Image Processing by A.K. Jain, Pearson Education 2001 edition, and Digital Image Processing, Jayaraman, Esakirajan and Veerakumar, Tata McGraw-Hill 2014 edition. So these are the textbook and reference books. In this lecture we'll understand what is an image, what is meant by digital image, and what is digital image processing, and how the system evolved into what we have today. So that is history of digital image processing. The first question is, what is an image? Image basically is a visual representation of something. uh, it can be an object produced on a photographic material, or it could be a picture produced on a electronic display such as television or computer. Then the next question will be, what is a digital image? So it's a representation of a two-dimensional image as a finite set of digital values called picture elements or pixels. So in basic analog image on a film, it's just a image which is getting printed on the film. But here in digital domain, it's basically bits, ones and zeros. So how we do that, we'll explore. So this is the scene element or an object which needs to be captured, and we have a imaging system to capture the scene element. So in order to capture it, you need a light, and for that you have a illumination source. It can be a light source or any other radiation which can be captured. So imaging system captures the radiation and makes it fall on a sensing material. It can be any sensor which is sensitive to light instead of falling on it, and giving out proportional output. And the output of the sensor is analog in nature, and then we convert it into digital representation, and this is the output digital image. So this is a digital image, and you can see here the input image has smooth edges, but digitization process leaves you with the square edges or digitized edges. And these pixel values typically represent gray levels, colors, and heights and opacities. And we need to always remember this digitization implies that a digital image is an approximation of a real scene. And you can see the pixels here, and the pixel word itself means picture element. Picture element is cut short into pixel. Okay, and so for a larger pixel size like this, you can make out the square edges, but when you are given a large image like this one, and if you just check the overall view, you won't be able to make out the location of any pixel. It looks neat and smooth, but only when you zoom in to the last level, you can see the pixels at the edges. So if you have smaller pixels or big image size, then you won't be able to see the individual pixels. And one more example of the concept. So in this example, you can see it's a small image of a person with the beard. If you expand it, now you can still make out that it's a image of a person with beard, but you can see pixelation. Now if you just zoom in that image further, all you end up with is this image with more pixel values around, and this is w- uh, what it looks like when you zoom that small image. You can see white pixels here, the black pixels here, and pixels of different values or different intensities, grayish, dark gray, light gray, and getting progressively white here or totally black here. So this is how the image or the uh, picture elements on your mobile screen or your TV lights up for this particular image. It switches on to full brightness to display full white, or switches off totally for black a pixel. This is for our vision, but what computer sees actually is like this. So the intensity is mapped to a particular number, and that is all matters for the computer or your device. So uh, bright pixel is represented as a higher value. For this example, we are taking 256 levels. That means 8 bits per pixel. We'll come back to that bits representation in the next slide. So you can see here the black pixel maps to 0, and lower values are typically black, represented as black. So you can observe here 0 0 is black, 12 is gray, and again 0 4 2, all these low values less than 10 20 30, around 30 are all black in nature. As you increase the pixel values, you get brighter and brighter pixel. You can see here 0 black, 81 a little bit uh, gray, and 143 more brighter gray, 210 and 181 gray, and 236, 252, all these things are appearing as quite bright. So I hope you got the concept here. So 255 means white, 0 means black for this example. So this is what we see, and this is how the computer sees the images. It's only representation of a pixel with some value, and in order to do any operation on the image, all that matters is the values. So it's a matrix of pixel values, x and y direction, and image is a two-dimensional signal. uh, the signal that you studied till now in DSP or previous courses in communication courses, it's all analog, or analog or digital, one dimensional signal. That means you had t on the x-axis time, and voltage or current or any other representation, amplitude, anything on the y-axis. So that is uh, that is a one dimensional signal. At any particular instance of time you have one amplitude, but here in a image there is no timing content, so we have spatial information. That means the value on x-axis and y-axis, and for a particular x and y coordinate, what is the amplitude. So image is a two-dimensional signal. So this thing we need to remember all the time. So for this example, uh, the pixel value 1 1 will be 157, x1 y1 will be 157, okay, and so on. So all the coordinates are mapped to a particular intensity, and that's how the computer displays the image, so that we can see what's there, okay, in the system. uh, Common image formats are one sample per point. It's basically called pure black and white, or you can say grayscale also. So one sample per point means for every pixel we just have one sample representing. So you can either have one bit representation per sample, or you can have 8 bits per pixel. So I'll write it down here. You can have 1 bit or or 8 bits or 8 bits per pixel. So if it is 1 bit, it is a pure black and white. If it is 8 bit, it will be grayscale image. So black and white means it's either pure black or pure white, nothing gray in between. If it is grayscale, if you have 8 bits per pixel, then it means you can have 0 to 2 raised to 8, that means 256. So 0 to 255 will be the maximum value. Okay, so where 0 will be black and 255 will be pure white, and anything in between will be gray, as we saw in the previous example. So this is the grayscale image. And we can also have 3 samples per point. That is used for color images like this, where the first plane for, in 3 samples, first sample will be for red, second will be for green, third will be for blue. And another sample we can add for the color image to give the opacity. That is, just by adding the alpha content, we can make the background somewhat visible, means we can make the image transparent or opaque by varying the alpha value. So these are the different image formats that we can have. And for most of this course we'll confine ourselves to grayscale image, 8 bits per pixel, or 1 bit per pixel kind of image will be discussed more in this course, because most of the real-time problems are converted into grayscale image and then process on it, because it will save a lot of processing time and resources. So continuing with the 3 samples per pixel example, this is how it works. When you have 3 samples per point or per pixel, it's a full color image, and each value here is represented by 3 bits. So you can have maximum value of 255 for each of these values. So you can see here this part looks like pure white, and in order to get white you should have R and G and B value as maximum. If it is max, you will have white pixel generated. And in order to generate a darker or black pixel, you have to put low values for RGB. If you make it 000, it will be a pitch black pixel, and if you make this first point as high, like this one, R value is relatively high compared to G and B, that pixel appears reddish. And if you make it 25500, it will be pure red. If you make it 0, 255 and 0, that means green component is more or full and other components are 0, that pixel will become greenish in color. And if you make the third component as high 255 and others as 0, it will become a blue pixel. Very simple representation in RGB format. Now let's understand what is meant by digital image processing. So digital image processing deals with manipulation of digital images through a digital computer, and it is a subfield of signals and systems but focuses particularly on images. And we have two major tasks uh, in digital image processing. First is to improve the pictorial information for human interpretation, like enhancing the image or contrast enhancement, or just improve enhancing certain features in image. So that is basically improving the pictorial information for human interpretation. That is one part. And in the second task, we are processing the image data for storage to compress the image so that storage space is reduced, or transmission. Again, if you have smaller data set, transmission bandwidth can be saved. Or you can process the image for representation for autonomous machine perception, like autonomous driving or automatic number plate or face recognition. All these are the uh, tasks for image processing. So first you can divide it into human interpretation, second is for autonomous machine perception. So if you continue further with image processing, you can do computer vision, and that can be broken down into three parts or three processes. First one is the low level process, wherein the input is image and output is also an image. Example for this process is basically noise removal, image sharpening, or image enhancement. In the mid level process, input is image, output is attributes like object recognition, segmentation. And for this course we'll stop here, and beyond this it's basically going towards uh, computer vision, and that is basically high level process, where input will be attributes that we got from the mid level, and output will be understanding of the scenery, what the image is showing. Example will be scene understanding, autonomous navigation. Let's look at the evolution of digital image processing techniques and how we ended up with the systems that we have today. So it all began with the newspaper industry and their need for getting images across the Atlantic. US and Europe had lots of communication. They used to get lots of news across using the existing telegraph or telephone lines, which was already laid underneath the ocean. But getting the images across was a challenging task, because if you want to send a photograph, you need to ship it, uh, uh, and it will take weeks to reach the other side. So they did some innovation, and Bartlane cable picture transmission service was developed. It was an innovative method of encoding the images over the existing telegraph service. Basically, using the Morse code, they could send the images across. And the images were transferred by submarine cable between London and New York. So this was, just imagine, this was in 1920s. They already had the infra which connects London to North America. Here it is landing at somewhere in Canada, and using this existing physical line, they were able to transfer the images. And pictures were coded for cable transfer and reconstructed at the receiving end on a telegraph printer. And this is one of the earliest digital image that was transmitted, and it looks very crude, only a single tone image, only black or white pixels are there. So it looks black if it is if more dots are printed in the vicinity, means if it is dense dots means it will appear black, and if the dots are spread out, like it will appear gray, and nothing is means there will be white color. And another example of a Bartlean cable picture which was sent during 1920s, early 1920s, and by mid to late 1920s they had innovated it further, improvised on the existing system, and they were using 15 tones, and new production processes based on photographic techniques was also developed. And here is the increased number of tone image. You can see it's somewhat more clear, and this image also it's comparatively better than the previous image because more number of tones are used. And by 1960s improvement in computing technology and the onset of space race between US and USSR led to a surge of work in digital image processing. Like they were sending satellites, there was a space race, and wow, images are the best gift from the satellites to the humans who sent them. So you had to innovate. You cannot get the analog signals from there. So computing technology was already evolving, and they improvised on it, and they developed this digital imaging technology for space applications. And in 1964 computers were used to improve the quality of images on the moon taken by the Ranger 7 probe. And such techniques were also used in other space missions including the Apollo landings. And you can see here a picture of the moon taken by the Ranger 7 probe minutes before its landing. By 1970s, digital image processing was being used in medical imaging or medical applications. And in 1979, Sir Godfrey N. Hausenfeld and Professor Alan M. Cormack got the Nobel Prize for invention of tomography, which is the technology behind computerized axial tomography scans, which revolutionized the way uh, of medical imaging and diagnosis related to brain or other body parts also later on. And this is a picture of a typical head slice CAT image. After 1980s, use of digital image processing techniques has exploded, and we have applied it in all kinds of fields, like in image enhancement, restoration, or artistic effects, medical visualization, or for industrial inspection, in law enforcement, or human computer interfaces. So in the next lecture, we'll go through all these state-of-the-art examples and fundamental steps in digital image processing. Okay, see you at the next lecture. Thank you.